Everybody, we are doing a fantasy football mock draft, a 10-team PPR snake draft. It is a mock draft. Last opportunity to get in on this. If you want to join us, but Fumble Sports, we are doing a mock draft. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 slots filled, 4 more teams available. We'll give you 1 more minute. So if you want to DM us, But Fumble Sports on Instagram. Again, on Instagram, just DM us, But Fumble Sports, if you want to get in on this fantasy football mock draft. We are doing a 10-team PPR fantasy football mock draft. We will do that for the final half hour of the show. Looks like everybody has claimed the team that wants to be a part of it. So everybody, welcome in. We do a mock draft almost every single day here at But Fumble Sports. By the way, if you're in different league sizes, if you have different scoring systems, if you do a snake draft versus auction, do not fret. But Fumble Sports is going to cover every kind of draft that you could possibly have. 8-team, 10-team, 12-team, even 14. We'll do PPR, half PPR, and no PPR. We will do an auction draft this weekend, everybody. So if you guys want to participate in that, make sure you DM us. That said, it is time. Let us randomize the draft order. Draft order randomized. Beep, boop, 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 boop. Randomized. We have a lot of empty spots going early in the draft. So a lot of you guys who are actually participating are on the back end of the draft. Let me resize our screen so everybody can watch all of the picks that we drop over the next 30 minutes or so. Everybody, you ready to go? Getting our draft started, and we are live. Team 1 goes first and takes McCaffrey. IP Shade 45 is on the board and takes Justin Jefferson. Interesting, wide receiver goes Jorge the GOAT, now going next. Jorge the GOAT has Chase, Eckler, Kelsey, Kupp, Hill, a lot of different options across the board. Let's see where he goes. He goes Austin Eckler. Feel like that's a pretty good pick, especially given the injury to Joe Burrow. I don't like the position I'm in right now. I definitely feel a little bit of reachage coming my way. So I will reach, and I will take Nick Chubb. I want to get a running back. Jamar Chase still hasn't gone. Clearly the Joe Burrow news impacting that, as Jamar Chase has now made it to the 7th pick of the first round. That just tells you that quarterback, it does matter, everybody. It does matter. Where will El Pinche go? Will El Pinche go with Jamar Chase? No, he goes Bijan Robinson. That's what I was thinking he might. Running back going off the board. We've only had 2 wide receivers taken, and neither one is Jamar Chase. Will Kyle finally take Jamar Chase? Let's see. Kyle is on the clock. Interesting question here. Do you take Jamar Chase? Do you go after a running back? Working our way through the first round of a 10-team PPR league. Again, this is a PPR league, which does make Eckler, McCaffrey, Robinson maybe a bit more valuable to you fantasy owners. Kyle will take Jamar Chase. Gave some good thought to it, but Jamar Chase is finally off the clock in the number 8 spot. So he did fall because of the Joe Burrow calf injury. Very interesting there. Bo Nose is now on the clock, making his first selection. This is a tough one now. Tyreek Hill, Diggs, Barkley, Jonathan Taylor, CeeDee Lamb. Looks like wide receiver is the popular play. He goes with Travis Etienne. Definitely a reach, but in a PPR league, not bad. Gets his 2 running backs. Team 10 went Barkley and Hill. Kyle is back on the clock. Let's see where Kyle goes after going with Jamar Chase with his first pick. Notice how many running backs have come off the board, everybody. Running back is definitely a position. I've mentioned it to you guys before. If you don't have 2 running backs by probably the end of the 4th round, you're doing something wrong. Kyle takes Jonathan Taylor. Nice pick. CeeDee Lamb goes next. A run on wide receiver. Lamb, Diggs, and Brown. A bit surprised by that. Patrick Mahomes is available and appears to be the top of the board. I'm not going to take running back, wide receiver. I'm not going to take quarterback right now. Feels like a bit of a reach. I will stay with my running back position. I'm going to take a bit of a chance here. I'm going to go with Breece Hall, and I'm just going to kind of take a bit of a chance that he's going to be ready by week 1. But I'd rather lock into my running backs right now and get the 2. By the way, you're totally right, Diego. If Jamar Chase has Joe Burrow healthy week 1, Jamar Chase going 8 overall in the first round is absolutely a steal. This is why we should kind of monitor the health status of some of these players, because I think there will be an abundance of overreaction by some fantasy football owners to avoid a player who might be catching passes from Joe Burrow, when in reality, this calf injury may not be a problem by week 1. Josh Jacobs comes off the board next, as Jorge the GOAT follows Fumble Sports. We both have 2 running backs. IP Shade 45 is on the clock next. Justin Jefferson. IP Shade 45 goes Garrett Wilson. So the run on wide receiver, Wilson and Adams. Team 1 took Henry. IP Shade 45 gets a running back in Ramondre Stevenson. Jorge the GOAT already has 2 running backs. Will he triple down on running backs? Will he go towards wide receiver? There has been a big run on wide receiver. He goes Tony Pollard. Very interesting. Notice, 3 running backs taken in a row. Make it 4. I'm going Jahmyr Gibbs. So I've got 3 starting running backs. By the way, Team 6 takes Josh Allen as the first quarterback off the board. This is the first mock draft we've done in which Mahomes is not the first quarterback taken. So Allen goes first. This run on wide receiver continues, though. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Waddle go next. At the wide receiver position, starting to run out of those top options. But then again, running back getting kind of slim there too. If you don't have your 2 running backs by the end of the 4th round, I think you're making a mistake as a fantasy football owner. Wide receiver, even in a PPR league, I still don't think is as valuable as a running back, a number 1 running back. So loading up on those number 1 running backs, I don't think you can do wrong by that. That's why I went with all 3, especially because between Chubb, Hall, and Gibbs, I could see one of them getting hurt. Aaron Jones goes next. Then we turn the corner into round 4. Let's show you Mahomes came off the board. Run on wide receiver, Ridley, Olave, and Smith. Kyle is going next. Kyle has 1 wide receiver, 2 running backs. We have had 2 quarterbacks taken. Both went in the 3rd round. Just a note for you guys, if you're looking at quarterback, notice that they both went in the 3rd round was when the first quarterbacks went. Travis Kelce went in the 1st. Haven't seen a tight end taken since. Let's see where Kyle goes with this 4th overall pick. He goes Kenneth Walker III and gets a 3rd running back. El Pinche goes running back. Team 6 went with Higgins, and then our 3rd quarterback off the board goes to Team 5. I have to go wide receiver. I'll go DK Metcalf and consider it a steal to get Chubb, Hall, and Gibbs with my first 3 and still have Metcalf sitting there. I love that pick. So he'll be my number 1 wide receiver. I'm sure Jorge the GOAT was probably thinking along the same lines. Where will Jorge go? Probably towards wide receiver or tight end, given that he has 3 running backs already. Again, I think if you're not getting a top tight end, you can wait on that position. Same goes for quarterback. If you're not getting one of the top 1 or 2 guys at that position, you may be able to afford to wait until later rounds, continue to get depth at wide receiver and at running back, the 2 most important positions usually in terms of production. Amari Cooper goes next by Jorge. IP Shade 45 has 2 really good stud wide receivers with Jefferson and Wilson as his first 2 picks. Went Ramondre Stevenson 3rd overall. Would expect him to go running back here, but starting to run out of good running backs because a couple of guys, he went tight end. Interesting. The run on tight end just happened. Andrews and Hawkinson. By the way, Team 1, look at his starting lineup. Pretty solid. IP Shade 45 goes with J.K. Dobbins next. By the way, Dwayne Lewis, thanks so much for following us. Appreciate all of those who follow Fumble Sports. Terry McLaurin goes next by Jorge. Looking at wide receiver, because it's a PPR league, I think getting Deebo Samuel here is an absolute steal. Love that pick. So Metcalf and Samuel together, love it. Pierce goes next to Team 5. Team 6 takes Drake London. El Pinche gets a quarterback with Justin Fields. Interesting that Justin Fields is the 5th quarterback taken off the board. Kyle is the next on the clock. We are in the 5th round. Final few picks of the 5th round. This is a 15-round PPR snake draft featuring 10 teams. Make sure you hit the like button on the video. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you're following Fumble Sports. We do a mock draft almost every single day. If you guys want to participate in that mock draft every day, just DM us on Instagram. That's Fumble Sports on Instagram. Keenan Allen goes next to Kyle. Interesting pick. His 2nd wide receiver. Bo Nose is now on the clock. He has 2 wide receivers, 2 running backs, so he can go in a number of different directions here. Bo Nose has some flexibility. As we turn the corner, Bo Nose takes Lamar Jackson. I do like that pick, getting him where you did. Jerry Jeudy and more go next. Dallas Goedert. So Bo Nose has really kind of completed his starting lineup outside of kicker and defense. 2 running backs, 2 wide receivers, a quarterback, and a tight end. Bo Nose has done a nice job. I'm not crazy about Dallas Goedert, but think you've done a nice job in this draft, Bo Nose. Diego, I think Lamar is going to be an MVP caliber player this year. Maybe on the fringes, top 5, but I love Lamar Jackson, so I'm big on that. Run on tight end. Are we seeing it? Goddard and Kittle go back to back here. Let's see where El Pinche goes. El Pinche. He goes with tight end. So a run on tight end there with Kyle Pitts. Who's left at the tight end position? Darren Waller, Evan Ingram. I'll go with Ingram. I just don't want to get shut out. I have 3 running backs. I have 2 wide receivers. Normally, I would say wait on the tight end, but I just don't want to get shut out, so I'll take Evan Ingram, and I can always get a second one later in the draft. But I just feel like the run on tight end, a bit too strong right now, especially since we already had Kittle taken by 1 team. There's only 2 teams that haven't taken a tight end yet. So I was just making sure that I got Evan Ingram, one of the tight ends I really like this year. I actually think Ingram will benefit from having Calvin Ridley on the offense with him. Opens up some more passing opportunities, single coverage opportunities for Ingram. Jorge goes Miles Sanders. IP Shade 45 goes Justin Herbert. Hopkins and Williams both go to Team 1 before Madison goes to IP Shade 45. Jorge the GOAT goes with Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. Too bad. That's where I was going to go next, was Trevor Lawrence at quarterback. I'm going to take a bit of a chance. I will take Dak Prescott here. Not crazy about it. Feel like the interceptions could get the better of him. But I think quarterbacks are just going a little bit earlier in the draft than I expected. Quarterbacks, normally I like to wait till round 10 to try to get a quarterback, but they're just going a bit too early. Kind of makes me wary. I don't want to get shut out, especially in this one. A lot of people took a quarterback earlier than I expected. Swift and Williams are the next 2 players taken. El Pinche is now on the board. He has gone in 4 different directions. He took a wide receiver, then a running back, Fields, the quarterback, and now Pitts, tight end. He goes Michael Pittman, so he is the Pitts, literally, Pittman and Pitts. Kyle goes to Deshaun Watson. That was the other pick I was considering. It was between Prescott and Deshaun Watson, so not a bad play there. Isaiah Pacheco, nice. Bo Nose is having a nice draft. Team 10 goes Akers and Ayuk. Bo Nose goes Jackson Smith and Jigba. I'm telling you, Bo Nose is having a phenomenal draft right now. I think Bo Nose is having a really strong draft. Love what you're doing, Bo Nose. Kyle, let's see what Kyle does with this pick. He goes Tyler Lockett, so a couple of Seahawk wide receivers off the board. El Pinche makes his pick in this 8th round of our fantasy football mock draft. Again, this is a PPR league. Kamara, White, Connor, bunch of running backs taken. I already have 3 running backs, so I don't really need to sweat it too much. But because I actually already have 3, I'm going to be a cheeky mofo. I'm going to draft Dalvin Cook and stash him. That is a draft and stash. I already have 3 running backs. It shuts out some of the other guys out there in the draft who are looking for a running back. no matter where he lands, that's my fourth running back. My running back depth is really strong. I didn't feel like there were other players out there, either at wide receiver or tight end, that could match the kind of production Cook could. So I actually really like that pick. Again, pairing Chubb, Hall, Gibbs, and getting Dalvin Cook as kind of an insurance policy. Draft, bench him. I could draft and trade him too. If he goes to like the Dolphins or the Bills, that might be an attractive trade target. Christian Kirk goes next. So Jorge the GOAT doubling down on that Jaguars offense. IP Shade 45 now on the clock. Working our way through a fantasy football mock draft for all of you fantasy owners, trying to give you guys a sense of where players are going, which round has a run on a certain position, how you should value certain players against one another. Man, Team 1 is loaded up on wide receivers of late. IP Shade 45 has gone back-to-back running backs from the NFC North. Let's see where IP Shade 45 goes with this 9th round pick. Oh, IP Shade 45, you just took the guy I wanted. IP Shade 45, you are officially on the poop list from Fumble Sports. Great pick by IP Shade 45. I've heard nothing but fantastic things about Zay Flowers. I am very high on him. So IP Shade 45, you have challenged our friendship. We will remain friends, but it's going to be a struggle. Now, wide receiver, I really don't like Mike Evans that much. But given where I'm getting him in round 9, I think it is good value. It's a PPR league, so I will take Mike Evans. But again, that's as a bench wide receiver, so don't think of me taking him as a wide receiver too. Think of me definitely getting him as an insurance policy on the bench. El Pinche goes Jordan Addison. I like that pick. He was the other one I was considering. I just like Mike Evans a little bit more, knowing that he's, not necessarily a wide receiver 1, but a wide receiver 2 on that team. Jordan Addison still has to kind of learn the offense, earn that trust with Kirk Cousins. Kyle takes Jerick McKinnon. Bo knows, who I keep praising for a really strong draft. Let's see where he goes with his last pick of the 9th round. Team 10 to finish out the 9th round. This is a 10-round mock draft, PPR league. If any of you guys want to join our mock draft, we do one almost every day. Just DM us on Instagram, Fumble Sports. Bo Nose gets Kirk Cousins. I like that pick, especially as a backup to Lamar Jackson. Phenomenal. And you got Dalton Kincaid, the tight end I'm really crazy about. That's a great pick. Bo Nose is having a fantastic draft, everybody. Keep your eyes on that one. No, Bo Nose, you're doing really well. Doing a good job. Kyle goes David Njoku. That's a really good tight end pick. Again, as insurance for George Kittle. We've talked about this a little bit. Drafting a second tight end just to get a little bit of depth. Now, I'm not going to do that because I still need maybe some depth at the wide receiver position. Tony, Cooks, Thomas, and Juju Smith-Schuster. I'm going to take a chance, and I'm going to take Juju. I'll take Juju with Mac Jones. Probably not where I would have gone in a lot of mocks, but want to try out something else. Let's go Juju and take him there. But there's a collection of about, I would say, 5 wide receivers that I think are kind of interesting to take as a flyer. Juju, Tony, Cooks, Thomas. I think Davis and Cortland Sutton shouldn't be thrown out either. So Jorge the GOAT goes with Brandon Cooks. Not a bad pick. IP Shade 45 now on the clock. He takes Rice. A lot of people are talking about Rice with the Kansas City Chiefs. Gibson and Davis go next for Team 1 as we are now in round 11. Final 5 rounds of the draft. IP Shade 45. Let's see where he goes. IP Shade 45. Charbonnet goes back to that rookie running back. Jamal Williams comes off the clock next. I'm going to stay with my wide receiver. I'm just going to take Kadarius Toney on a flyer. Tua goes next to Team 5, who is waiting on a second quarterback. Interesting from Team 5. Robinson then goes. Anthony Richardson goes to El Pinche. Doesn't sound like Richardson's going to see too much of the field early in the year, but maybe back half of the year could be a sleeper pick. Kyle takes Aaron Rodgers. A bunch of you guys are drafting a second quarterback. I think that's really smart. Getting 2 quarterbacks, 2 tight ends, kind of playing them off of one another. I think that is a good strategy for this fantasy football season. Bo Knows, who I've been praising throughout the draft. Let's see where he goes with his next pick. Damian Harris, Penny, Pirine, a rip on running backs rather. Michael Thomas, Bo Knows, that's a really good pick in the 12th round. Really like that. Really smart. Kyle, next up on the clock. Again, 12th round of a 15-round mock draft. Sutton goes next. El Pinche on the board. El Pinche takes the Cowboys defense. I was wondering when the first defense was going to be taken. I am going to take a defense now that the first one's been taken. We're right at that point. Rounds 12, 13, 14. I think it's okay to take a defense. I will take the 49ers defense and lock that in. I know there's going to be a run on defense in one of these rounds. I just don't want to be on the backside of it. So I will maybe take the 49ers 1 round early, but I'm okay with that. I think the run on defense probably happens, if not this round, the next round, with 2 already off the board. Jorge the GOAT, where's he going to go? Is he going to go defense? He does. Eagles goes next. Kyle, I love the trash talk we're seeing from Kyle Klein. He's hating on Bo Knows' team. I love it. Jorge went Eagles defense. Where will IP Shade 45 go? He goes Russell Wilson. Really surprising pick from IP Shade 45. Did not expect Russell Wilson. He then takes a kicker. He goes Justin Tucker, so the first kicker is off the board. Will we see a run on kicker in this round? Very interested to see how that plays out. Will we see a run on kicker? Jorge goes with Butker. I'm not going to double down. I'm not going to take a kicker. I'm going to double down on defense, and I'm going to be a real SOB to all of those who don't have a defense yet. I got the 49ers. I'll also take the Jets, and I'll play the 2 off of one another. So the run on defense better happen soon, because now defenses are starting to become fewer and fewer. El Pinche did get the Cowboys last time. I think that is a good play. Where does El Pinche go with his 13th round pick? By the way, we will recap the entire draft in case you missed anything. El Pinche goes with a kicker, McPherson. Kyle, he needs a defense. He needs kicker. Let's see where he goes. Only 3 rounds left, 3 picks to go. So you got to get those 2 positions locked in. He goes Bills defense, Bo Knows. He's got a couple options at defense. Ravens, Dolphins, Steelers, Patriots, Seahawks are the top 5 defense I see up on the board. He'll take the Ravens. Team 10 takes Carlson. By the way, Bo Knows doubles down and goes with 2 AFC North defenses. Interesting, Ravens and the Steelers. Dylan, I love the trash talk from you guys. This is great. Dylan getting in on it. Kyle, where are you going to go? You going to take a kicker? He goes McManus. Too bad. That's where I was going to go. I was going to take McManus. Nice pick by Kyle. El Pinche. He's got the option now. He's got a defense. He's got a kicker. Does he go to add to his bench a little bit? Let's see. Odell still on the board. Jamison Williams. He goes with Sam Laporta. Love the pick, El Pinche. Love that pick. That was a really nice find there. I need a kicker. Not crazy about a lot of the options up here. I'll go Jake Elliott. I'll just believe in the Eagles overall. I know they go for 2-point conversions, so that may backfire on me, but I'll take Jake Elliott for now. Jorge the GOAT. Let's see where he goes. Final few picks of round 14, and then the last round of this mock draft. Again, this is a 10-team PPR mock draft. If you guys want to participate in our mock drafts, make sure you DM us every day. Fumble Sports on Instagram. That's Fumble Sports on Instagram. You DM us. We'll share a link. That way you guys can participate in our mock drafts every single day. Jorge, where are you going to go with this pick? Final 2 picks for Jorge coming up. Waiting on Jorge to make this round 14 pick. He has a defense. He has a kicker. He goes with Tyler Algier. That's a great find. Jorge, that's a great pick. I love getting Tyler Algier in the 14th round. Again, a draft and stash. If Bijan Robinson gets hurt, if Tyler Algier turns out to be a touchdown vulture, that'll turn out to be a steal. Really good pick by you. Shade 45 on the clock. He's got a kicker. He's got a defense. He goes running back. Jared Goff goes to Jorge the GOAT. Nice pick. I need a second tight end. I might have waited a bit too long to get it with a lot of these rookies coming off the board. I'll go with Gerald Everett, though I'm not crazy about it. I wish Laporta had remained out there, but unfortunately he was taken. Myers goes. Chiefs defense goes. Final 4 picks of our fantasy football mock draft. I'll drop this down. Final 4 picks of our fantasy football mock draft. El Pinche, Kyle, Bo Nose, and an auto-drafting Team 10 to finish it. McBride, interesting pick. Very interesting pick by El Pinche, backup running back for the Vikings. Interesting play. Kyle, where's he going to go? By the way, don't go anywhere. We're going to recap every single pick from our fantasy football mock draft once the draft concludes. See which teams we thought we did a better job or did a better job and which teams need to do a better job. IP Shade 45, yeah, teasing those running back trades. Rondale Moore goes next. Bo Nose, he took back-to-back defenses. He takes Moody the kicker, and we are done, folks. That is our fantasy football mock draft for today, July 28th. A 10-team PPR league. Let's take a look how these teams did. Taking a look at Team 1, McCaffrey, Adams, and Henry, Burrow, Hawkinson. Really strong starting lineup. I just don't understand where he went with wide receiver. Hopkins, Williams, Hollywood Brown, Deontay Johnson. Just not crazy about the wide receivers that he picked up. Thought there were probably some better ones to be had. Overall, I think Team 1's team really fell off after a strong starting lineup. Now, IP Shade 45. Love where he started with Jefferson and Wilson, 2 of my favorite wide receivers right now. Stevenson, good pick, decent, not going to hate on it. Andrews, he was the second tight end taken. Interesting that he went there in the 4th round. Dobbins, not crazy about him. Feel like there's better options, but we'll see. He might prove me wrong. Like Justin Herbert, like getting Madison and Dillon. You might get good running back production out of them. Zay Flowers, love that pick. Rice, really like that pick. Surprised you took Wilson as your backup. Maybe you waited a little too long on defense. Patriots defense could be really good, but think you might have been able to go 1 round earlier and waited on Justin Tucker and gotten the flip on the other side. Let's look at Jorge's team. Jorge the GOAT. Love Austin Eckler in a PPR league especially. Josh Jacobs, he might miss a week or 2, but you don't have concerns about that because not only did you get Tony Pollard with round 3 pick, you went with Miles Sanders in round 6. 4 really good running backs. Love what you did there, Jorge. Your wide receivers I'm not crazy about. Amari Cooper, I do like. McLaurin, less so because the quarterback situation in Washington. Christian Kirk, though, is a nice number 3 to go with Trevor Lawrence, your quarterback. Jared Goff is the backup to Lawrence. Love that. Wide receiver Cooks. Felt like you probably needed 1 more wide receiver, so I like the fact that you did go with Cooks. That's a nice play. Williams, I'm not as crazy about as I am Algier. I actually like Algier more, but a really strong team by Jorge, especially Eagles and Butker to fill it out. How do I think about my team? I kind of was in a tough spot. And in a PPR league, I didn't want to reach on Bijan Robinson. That's why I went with Nick Chubb. I didn't take Jamar Chase either. So maybe Nick Chubb was a bit of a reach and a mistake by me, but that's where I ended up making the decision. Hall and Gibbs, I figure one of those two is going to have a fabulous year, so I'm kind of banking on that. Plus, I got Dalvin Cook as a draft and stash play, so I have 4 arguably RB1s. Chubb, Hall, Gibbs, and Cook, wherever they go, they're probably the number 1 running back. That's why I really like all 4. Metcalf and Samuel, I like them, but I liked them more probably 2 years ago. This year, I could see both of them maybe having a bit of a slide, but given this is a PPR league, I like Samuel. Metcalf's still good for touchdowns. Ingram, tight ends were just starting to run. Felt like I had to take it, so I went there. Quarterbacks where I struggled. Only took Dak Prescott. I definitely need another quarterback. I don't think Dak Prescott was a good pick by me. So, I like my wide receiver depth. I love what I did at defense. I like my running backs, but quarterback is where I probably need to make a trade. Now, let's look at Team 5. 3 wide receivers out of the gate. Kupp, Brown, and St. Brown. I like that, but just waited too long on running backs. Pierce, Swift, and Connor. Too long. That's where Team 5's team fell apart. Team 6. Kelsey, Diggs, Allen, Higgins. Love where he started, but again, running backs came too late. That's a mistake by Team 6. How about looking at El Pinche's team? El Pinche, how do we think that he did in this draft? Decent. Bijan Robinson was a steal, and number 7, that's a good pick. Lamb and Waddle, love those plays. You went back to a running back. I like it with Joe Mixon. Not crazy about it, but given the round 4, good job, and only the second running back taken in this round. So, Justin Fields, Pitts, interesting that you took them. Maybe a bit of a chance on both of them, but I do like them. Anthony Richardson, he's a bit of a flyer for end of year. Love Sam Laporta. Thought that was a late round steal. I'll be curious to know if Jordan Addison has good production. Let's go over to Kyle. Did take Jamar Chase. When he falls to you at number 8, that's a good pick. Taylor, Jones, and Walker, love that. Those are 3 RB1s you got. Keenan Allen, I'm not crazy about him, but I can see it. Kittle, Watson, okay. Your back end of the draft, I thought you were chasing a little bit to get Rodgers and Watson. I felt like there was more you could have done in addressing some wide receiver depth. Cortland Sutton's not bad, but definitely think wide receiver outside of Jamar Chase might be a bit weak. Let's look at Bo Nose. I thought Bo Nose had a great draft. Travis Etienne in a PPR might be a bit of a reach, but I actually think it's appropriate around end of first, beginning of second. Najee Harris, okay. Calvin Ridley and Devontae Smith were steals. Like, that was a great 1-2 combination. Plus, you got Lamar Jackson. Love that pick. Dallas Goedert, I'm not as high on him as others, but not a bad play. Thought Pacheco was a really nice number 3 running back to get. Did I mention I love Jackson Smith and Jigba? I thought Kirk Cousins was a nice backup to Lamar Jackson. Nice play. Dalton Kincaid. Love that tight end. Damian Harris. As long as Dalvin Cook doesn't go to Buffalo, that's a good pick. Michael Thomas as a draft and stash. That's a good pick. And a couple of defenses. Maybe waited a little long on defense, but given the overall roster, I do like it. And Team 10, Barkley was the running back they got, and then they waited until Akers. I don't like it because of all the wide receivers they drafted. You can only start 2, maybe 3 of them in that flex. So I really don't like the Team 10 or the Team 10 built. Running backs, they drafted a bunch, but late. Really not a great draft overall. So everybody, that is the fantasy football mock draft that we just did for this Friday, July 28th. I hope you guys have really enjoyed the show today. We covered a lot. We gave out a ton of MLB game picks, player prop bets, WNBA game picks. We obviously got your celebrity shots in as well. We talked to our Formula One expert to talk about the Belgian Grand Prix, and we did our fantasy football mock draft. Woo! I am tired, and you guys helped me get through. I had so much fun doing this show with you guys today. Make sure you follow us. Hit that follow button. But Fumble Sports is live every day at 12 p.m. when we don't have dental surgery. We are live every day at 12 p.m. Eastern Time, so make sure you follow us, make sure you join us, and make sure that you participate every day in our show. We're a sports content company built by a sports fan for you real sports fans at home. As I say at the end of every show, I hope you guys stay healthy. I hope you stay safe. I hope you have a wonderful afternoon and evening, a brilliant weekend, and I hope you cash a ton of tickets tonight.